As you all know by now, a few months ago I competed in my very first men's physique bodybuilding show. I took home a third place medal, which you can see hanging in the background there. Looks pretty cool, put that up yesterday. Bit of handyman work, not bad, right? And basically I competed with a small, lesser known federation called UFE, Ultimate Fitness Events, based in Canada, I believe, and also here in the UK. They have a few other pro shows around just international locations. And I basically wanted to give you a rundown of my experience competing with UFE, the good, the bad, should you do it, would I do it again, would I recommend it, and all that kind of stuff. I competed in men's physique as a novice. I was a first timer, and that is what my experience is going to be based on. However, a lot of this stuff is applicable to whatever you're competing in, if it is within UFE. Also, if you are looking to compete, if you want to get shredded, if you want to build muscle, hit the top link in my description and we can do it together. I want to start this video off with the good points of competing in UFE because there are a lot of them, and then we'll move on to the bad points because there are a lot of them. So starting off the good with competing with UFE is the stage walk and the amount of time on stage. You do a 3-point stage walk where you walk in to the right, then you walk to the left, and then you walk to the middle. And at each point, you're allowed to do any pose you like, which is really nice. It gives you freedom, it gives you enjoyment, and it allows you to choose poses that show off your physique, whereas some federations force you to only do men's physique poses. Whereas if you want to do a nice side tricep or something that's a bodybuilding pose, you're allowed to with UFE. Then you go to the back and then you walk in and you do your comparisons, which are your mandatories, your quarter turns. So you still have those mandatory poses, but for your stage walk, the world is your oyster. Along with that, we were just on stage for a good amount of time, probably about 10 minutes, which is actually, doesn't sound like a lot, it's actually pretty good. Next up is the venue. I know a lot of people didn't like the venue that I competed at. Personally, I liked it. I found it really easy to find. I think it looked pretty cool. The stage was a really nice size and there was a good area to pump up. There was a good area to chill out where you had a kitchen, a kettle, a microwave, all that kind of stuff. I have no complaints about that. Another really good aspect was the photography. The photographer for my competition with UFE was Marsh. And is there any more to say about that? He is up there with the best in the industry. Like, you've got 3 industry leaders when it comes to photography. You've got Physique, one other guy, and Marsh, and he was there, so no complaints. Another good aspect that I personally had in my experience was camaraderie between the competitors. Obviously this depends on your luck and who shows up at your show, but personally everyone at my show, well, most people at my show were really supportive. There were the few that were just, you know, headphones in, scowling on their face, looking scary, raw. But in general, people were really supportive, friendly, smiley, chatty, and all that good stuff. The medals are another good aspect of competing with UFE. As you can see, that one is nice. I'll put a better picture on the screen here. They are good quality, they are heavy, they are exciting. It's a shame you don't get a trophy because trophies are cool, but I will take that medal any day. Tanning is another good thing. Tanning was provided at the venue by a lovely woman called Caroline at Spray Tans For You. She was welcoming, she relaxed my anxiety of doing this for the first time. She was very complimentary. It was a really good boost, and you know, she also did a good job. And finishing off the good, I would say that it was good value for money in terms of competition, or decent anyway. The overall cost of the whole competition, from everything you needed, from the photography to the tanning to the actual show pass, I can't remember what it's called, like the ticket to compete, was just over 200 quid, which is, it's pretty decent. It's about average. It's not cheap, but it's not expensive. It's what you'd expect for a decent show. It was also quite close to me, so I was able to drive, and that kept travel costs pretty cheap. Because I competed in 2 categories, I did novice and also open. The additional category was £35, so that did bump up my cost a little bit. And also you can pay extra, £15 extra to get a judge's report. I personally think it's a bit scammy to have to pay to get your judge's feedback, but I understand that they need to make money, and I was more than happy to pay for that information. Now we are moving moving on to the bad of competing with UFE. And the first one is that there was very bad preparation for the event. When I arrived at the venue, nobody was there to welcome me or tell me where to go or what to do. That did not help my nerves as a first-time competitor, and it just gave me a bad first impression of the federation as a whole, to be honest. Before we stepped on stage, before the show went live, there was supposed to be a pre-stage meeting where they would give us a rundown of everything that was happening, and this ended up being delayed by 3 hours, and then suddenly happened an hour sooner, but then it was supposed to happen after the delay, without half of us being told. So a good 20 minutes after the pre-stage meeting began, I was suddenly told, oh yeah, it started 20 minutes ago. Cheers! And then when I did get to the pre-stage meeting, the staff there had no idea what was going on. I was getting told different things by different people. These people were saying the walk would be in this direction, these people were saying this. Some people even said there wouldn't be a walk for men's physique, which I knew there was, but they were telling me there wasn't. It was just an absolute mess, to be honest. The staff did not know what was happening in the different categories, and the staff should know that better than anyone. The support for UFE was also pretty terrible. Email responses were blunt and unexplanatory. Maybe I was just being annoying with my questions, but even so, I'm a paying customer, treat me well. I had to chase up my judge's report. It was supposed to take 2 weeks to get to me, which is already a long old time, I personally think. Like, how hard is it to send that over? But I ended up having to chase it, and it took 3 or 4 weeks in the end. The next bad thing of competing in the UFE was the award structure was piss poor. Like, this is the worst thing. The awards ceremony at the end was ridiculously long and drawn out and so boring, but at the same time it felt rushed. Nobody was given their due diligence for winning. Like, they didn't make a big thing of it, but it was also really slow and long and boring. People were not told correctly how to receive their medal, where to go on stage, where to stand, so that just led to some quite embarrassing times. I didn't care, I got it right, but for other people that were wandering in all different places, it was just unstructured. There were too many categories, and there were also no caps how many categories you could enter. So they had like 15 women's categories or some BS like that, and there was like one woman who got like 10 medals because she competed in 10 of them. It was ridiculous. There should be a cap on how many you can enter, and why do they need like 10 to 15 categories for women? Men have like 4 or 5, so why do women need that many? Another thing that I didn't like about competing with UFE is that during our quarter turn comparisons, we were asked to do random poses which weren't mandatory to men's physique, which means we couldn't prepare or hadn't necessarily prepared for them. So you could practice your quarter turns, you go in knowing exactly what to do, and you practice the poses that you are going to do on your 3-point stage walk. But they were asking us to do front double bicep, back double bicep, ab shots, like abs and thighs. Like, these are bodybuilding poses, and you can't expect, or classic poses, you can't expect a men's physique athlete to have those prepared and be able to optimally show off their physique. Also, during comparisons, nobody got moved around, so where you were on stage is where they judged you. If you got put somewhere with shitty lighting on stage, because the centre of stage has the best lighting, and the further you get out, the worse it is. If you were unlucky enough to be on the ends, I was like here, from the centre here. If you were here or further on, you were basically stood in shadows, and that does not make the physique look good, does it? So they should have moved people around to properly assess the physique. I feel like anybody that was automatically in the middle automatically had a boost and a better chance of doing well. Another bad thing about competing with UFE, I feel like I'm going on here, but I'm just giving you all the information I can, is that there was no drug testing. They advertise themselves as natural bodybuilding that is tested, although somebody that literally works in the federation told me behind the scenes that they have never done a drug test at any show because it costs too much, which I completely understand. But even so, there was a guy called Red Trend Guy for a reason. He was very sweaty, he was very watery, he was covered in spots, he was very red. Now, I'm not saying that he was on gear, I'm just saying he looked like he could have been, you know? And then the last thing is that they did not monitor their novice category well at all, because Novice was supposed to be first-time competitors only, like myself. I should have been going in there competing only against other people that had never competed before. And when I was backstage chatting and making friends and being all friendly rather than having headphones in and looking angry at people, somebody literally admitted to me that they had competed multiple times before. And then another person, and then another person. So when I was up against these 7 or 8 people, at least 2 or 3 of them had actually competed before. And, you know, I don't really care, but that's not the point. It's about fairness and just check these things. If you call it first timers or novice, then it should be. So overall, competing with UFE was a fantastic experience and I absolutely loved my time there. I am really glad I did it. And funnily enough, the fact that the show was ran really poorly actually helped me feel a bit less nervous. It didn't seem so serious and organised like a WNBF show would be, which made it less stressful for me, although more stressful at the same time in some ways. Getting a lot of time on stage, being able to choose my own poses, not being rushed off for the next person, that was all amazing. It is good experience for future competitions. However, it was disappointing that things were ran badly because I wasn't able to time my pump up properly or my food properly or anything like that, and I probably could have looked better if I was able to optimize those things a little bit more. So based on all of the good things and all of the bad things that I've said, would I recommend that you compete with UFE, or should you skip their shows and go for somebody a little bit more known like the WNBF or something like that? Well, if you are brand new to bodybuilding, you're not already super serious, you've never competed before, you're not really too bothered about the level that you're competing at, you more just want to do it for some fun and to see what the best you can bring to stage is, then yeah, I would massively recommend doing it. But if you are already an experienced competitor and you are looking to get serious with your bodybuilding, I wouldn't waste your time with UFE shows, to be honest. They are definitely very entry level. Yes, there was definitely some good competition there, hence why I placed first, would have been first if not, right? But that being said, it is not a place for experienced people, so I wouldn't waste your time. I hope that was useful if you were looking into competing with the UFE. That is just my honest experience. I personally loved it and enjoyed it, but that is more because of where I currently am on my bodybuilding journey. It might be good for you, it might not be, but make your own judgment based on these points. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I post every single week, so join the team and don't miss out. Thank you again for watching. Until next one, see you later, guys.